Up with KREM begins now.
It is 5:33 now. Well, a Washington State University soccer player is gaining some fans online this morning. Check out this clip of defender Brianna Alger. Yeah, pretty impressive, huh?
Yeah, very impressive. So she leads the team in assists. This clip has gone viral with close to 3.1 million views so far, and I'm sure rising from there.
Absolutely. WSU soccer, by the way, the women's soccer team is phenomenal. I know that they do great things, and we can see why.
Jeez. It's a girl power type of morning.
No kidding, it is.
Spacewalk.
That's right, which we're going to be checking in with in a little bit.
Yes.
All right, welcome back to Up with KREM. Great to have you with us on our Friday morning.
Friday.
That's right.
That's right. We made it. Evan, though, what are we looking at for the weekend? We've been talking about rain all week.
Well, yeah, it looks like as of right now, we get a little bit of a break between the last round and the next round of showers. So today, for most of your Friday, we're expecting dry conditions out there. Partly cloudy skies to start off the morning, mostly cloudy skies by the end of the day. That means that we're kind of going to be setting the stage for possible precipitation overnight and really into the evening hours. A couple things to note as far as watches and warnings go. Nothing really specifically for the Spokane or Coeur d'Alene greater area. What we do have is over the Cascades, a winter weather advisory and a winter storm warning. Down toward the central and southern panhandle, a winter storm watch. Off toward Montana, a lake wind advisory. So a lot lighting up the map to start off the day, but nothing really specific or impending for the Spokane and Coeur d'Alene area. Showers have mostly tapered off into the last several hours, meaning that what we're going to be seeing once the sun comes up is a little bit of the sun and some of the sky as opposed to just significant clouds. 3-day forecast indicating that tomorrow, your Saturday, that's going to be the day for a lot of rain. We've got Saturday bringing 47 degrees for that afternoon high. Showers pretty much all through the day. Sunday's going to bring a few residual showers that will hang out, but otherwise temperatures are going to gradually warm up into the beginning of next week. Tomorrow, still below average with those temperatures, same into your Sunday, and then hopefully experiencing some dry weather by the time we get to about Tuesday. Jen, I'll send things back to you.
All right, Evan, thank you. It is 5:35 now. Well, history is unfolding this morning in space. NASA is conducting the first ever all-female spacewalk. So let's take a look. Astronauts Christina Cook and Jessica Meir are replacing a faulty power controller on the International Space Station.
And this comes 6 months after the first attempt was canceled due to a lack of available spacesuits aboard the International Space Station. Spokane native Anne McLean was scheduled to participate in that canceled spacewalk. NASA says it is the correct size spacesuits this time. Good thing, right? We don't want spacesuits that don't fit.
Yeah, and again, this is a live look this morning, and I know they have some engineers back at NASA who kind of narrate some of what they're doing. I want to listen in a little bit just to see what they have to say.
Mr. Wilson's science class from Jones Middle School in Florence, Kentucky have a question as they are watching the spacewalk, and they are wanting to know how the astronauts train for the spacewalks. Okay.
Copy, you've ingress and ingress data stowed. Nice work. Retrieve the medium ORU bag. That is temp stowed on handrail 5120 and place it on your BRT.
Again, we're taking a live look at the first ever all-female spacewalk this morning at the International Space Station. We checked in with them about 30 minutes ago. It was pitch black.
Yeah.
Now you can see there's a little more light. That's because of how fast it's rotating around the Earth, the International Space Station. So they'll see the sunrise and sunset a number of times during this spacewalk.
Wow, that is very cool. I can't believe that this is only the 13th and 14th woman to ever do a spacewalk. I just think it's an amazing thing that we're witnessing right now. Just how inspired. Oh, what's going on here? I think that looks like a helmet cam.
I love the technology that NASA's able to use. I mean, we're watching this in real time unfold. You can see the Earth there in the background. Of course, these astronauts train and train and train for situations like this. And imagine the pressure when you know the entire world can watch you move every move that you make here.
Up of the space station inside the pool, so they're able to move around on it just as they do in space. But underwater isn't a perfect comparison, so we also do virtual reality training with the spacewalkers, and we have a system that puts them in a harness and uses pulleys to make it feel like they are in zero gravity, so that they can see how the tools work and how
they're training for that.
They're moving around in microgravity will feel a little better than they do in the swimming pool.
Oh, very neat. So 5:38 now, again, watching the first ever all-female spacewalk live this morning from the International Space Station. You just heard some engineers at NASA explaining some of the training that these astronauts go through. And our sister station in Maine actually spoke with astronaut Jessica Meir after she first arrived in space just a few weeks ago. Here's what she had to say about her journey to space.
So it's funny, actually, during the launch, sometimes I would have to remind myself that this was the real thing and that it wasn't actually the simulator. You know how important science is.
Yeah, again, talking about some of her training now. This is the real deal as we watch live this morning the first ever all-female spacewalk. And here at 5:39, we'll be checking back in on this spacewalk this morning. It got underway just before 5 a.m., so they're rounding out the first hour right now of their work, but it is expected to take several hours, so we'll be able to watch it throughout the majority of our morning program.
Looking forward to coming back to it.
All right, coming up on 5:40 now, getting back into some local news this morning. You might remember this story from a few months ago. Washington labor and industry leaders say human error caused a deadly crane collapse in Seattle. Experts say the April collapse could have been avoided if the crane was properly dismantled. They say crews prematurely removed pins that hold the crane together, and it made the structure vulnerable during 45-mile-per-hour winds in Seattle. L&I fined 3 companies $100,000.
I want to express my heartfelt sympathy to the families of the 4 people who died during the tragic event. We've been in direct contact with the family members, and we briefed them yesterday and this morning on our findings. Those were difficult conversations. We believe that all workplace fatalities can be prevented.
Well, that crane fell onto a busy street. 4 people died and 4 others suffered injuries. The collapse also smashed 6 cars and part of the Google building under construction. Next week, Spokane Public Libraries will host sensory-friendly story times. The event is for children with autism spectrum disorder. The story readings will be held at all 6 library locations, and the library executive director says they wanted to create an inclusive environment for children living with ASD. In the future, they hope to expand programming opportunities. And you might have seen claims on your social media feeds about baby food containing toxic metal. It turns out the levels of toxic metal are not harmful. The Food and Drug Administration has not issued any warnings about the food. Many common baby food brands contain metals like arsenic, lead, and mercury. Experts say the metal is a low amount and they do not expect you to eat 20 cans a day, but babies are okay to have normal amounts. Well, that's your morning rush. More news in less time. Let us know what's happening in your neighborhood by using the hashtag #UpWithKREM. 5:41 now. Ballots for the November general election are on their way to your mailbox. Voters in Spokane will decide on a pair of local propositions. One of them, Proposition 2, deals with the idea of a city income tax. KREM 2's Casey Decker breaks it down.
The proposition is designed to prevent the city of Spokane from ever imposing an income tax. Specifically, it would prohibit the city from taxing, quote, wages, salaries, investments, the sale of goods or services, or any other income source. That appears to mean beyond just banning local income tax, it could also ban capital gains or B&O taxes. It would do so by amending the city charter. Currently, none of those taxes exist in Spokane, and there haven't been any serious attempts to create them. The measure is being pushed by Better Spokane, a business organization funded by major developers. They argue the lack of local taxes is crucial to bringing jobs to the area, that companies come to Spokane because Washington has no income tax. Opponents to the measure say it'll disable any future efforts to make the tax code fairer. The Progressive Voters Guide argues the current no income tax policy is regressive, that poor people end up paying more than their fair share compared to the rich. They say, quote, we need more options to balance our tax code, not fewer. But wait a second, is a local income tax even possible? Historically, no. It's been generally understood that Washington state law prevents any income tax, including at the city level. But that was all potentially thrown into question this year because of a court ruling out of Seattle. That city tried to impose an income tax on the wealthy. The court struck that measure down, but their ruling also might have left the door open to cities creating some types of local income taxes, which was a major development. That ruling might be clarified or changed by the state Supreme Court, but Prop 2 opponents say the current uncertainty is all the more reason for their measure. They say that if the court does ultimately allow local income taxes, this measure would assure it doesn't happen in Spokane. And that could give us a competitive edge when it comes to attracting businesses if other cities end up passing such a tax. But some opponents say there's no danger of that tax here anyway, and the measure is just intended to make certain voters scared of something that will never happen. Casey Decker, KREM 2 News.
5:44 now. Casey, thank you. This morning we are following the first ever all-female spacewalk. We'll be checking back in with the crew all morning long. And this morning we're asking the question, would you rather pay gas tax by the mile or at the pump? Head to the KREM 2 app to vote now.
Say congratulations to Charles. He just won 2 Up with KREM coffee mugs and a gift card to Thomas Hammer Coffee, along with a bag of coffee. You can enter yourself. All you have to do is head over to our Up with KREM Facebook page or enter on our email newsletter. We will be giving them away every single morning. We'll be right back.